Good evening, all present here. Today, myself, Poobalan. So, I'm doing my current final year in CAC, CIT itself. So, I have been involved with FAST for last 2 years. So, it's been my last year. So, the journey has been wonderful. It really motivated me into getting into some stuff. I'm glad that you're all part of this wonderful community here in CIT. So, welcome you all. So today I'm going to uh, help you getting started with cloud and AWS as well. So let's deep dive into the session. Okay. So is my voice audible? Right? Can you clear me?
Yes, now.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Good. Is my screen visible? Right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead. So today's session is about getting started with cloud and AWS. So moving on. So what is cloud computing and how it differs like from the normal stuffs? What I'm asking is like in normal days, what they have used instead of cloud computing is. So basically, what they used to do is, so they will use some hardware. It's a piece of computer component. So they use it as a server and they build their applications upon the server. So each and individual company will have their own servers for their corresponding applications. So and there will be a separate team or experts to manage the servers. Like in the server, in the sense there will be many part in the servers. Like for example, commutation, storage, networking. So there are many departments need to be covered as well. So what cloud computing does is the same, but here it comes to the cloud providers. So normally we opt in the services what we are required from the corresponding cloud providers, like based on a use. For example, some of the most like top cloud providers are AWS, Azure, GCP, and there are some other cloud providers emerging as well. So this is how the cloud computing comes into picture. So for example, if you are an industry and you are setting up a server for your individual application, then you need a separate team to manage that. So for example, now if you are trying to move your application to cloud, then you can avoid that particular expert team or that particular part in your industry, and you can completely rely on the cloud provider to solve all the underlying issues that your application is going to face. So there are some different levels like which you can get the use of cloud provider as well. So we'll see that in the later slide. So moving on. So what one basic example that we can give to cloud computing is like a rental car. Okay, so it is one of the good example we can justify, like, or we can relate it to what cloud computing is. So we'll move forward. So before we'll see like moving into deep, we'll see what benefits that cloud offers from the traditional IT infrastructure what we used to follow. So for example, the first benefit it offers is reduced infrastructure cost. For example, if you are setting up a server, you need to buy all the hardwares by yourself. Like you don't know the need. For example, it can be either you need for a larger application or a smaller application, you need to buy the hardware for yourself corresponding with all the related stuffs. So when you're migrating to cloud, so you don't need to worry about hardware. You just can get whatever hardware you want with some, like just like an options. For example, with this much amount of storage, this much amount of computing power, I need a Linux system. So you can request your cloud provider and he will provide you with the same. So it reduces the hardware cost that you are spending on your initial amount. So if you use migrating cloud, then you no need to do any spending for hardware. So next we'll move on to performance and scalability. So like in the hardware side, the cloud also offers really good fast performance systems which are capable of like running large applications. For example, nowadays, like most of the popular applications runs on cloud, like mostly in AWS, Azure as well. So the performance has neither been considered less than a hardware side. So it is much more improved. And the next one is scalability. So if you're speaking up to about scalability, so cloud provides or gives you the flexibility to like go up with your resources or down. So you can anytime increase your resources or decrease your resources it can either be a compute power or a storage. So it is basically upon the user who is using according to their needs there in the current situation. So for example, if we talk about we can take Amazon as well. So if some particular what we can say, a particular sale is going on Amazon, suddenly the users viewing the application rate will increase. So at that time, you cannot go buy a hardware and you can just attach it with the existing hardware. You cannot do that. But if you're using cloud, it automatically provides you with the additional resources that your application needs for that particular time. So after the sale is over for consider 2 to 3 days, then you can free up the resources and it can save you some amount of money. Okay, considered. But if you consider the same situation in hardware side, so you cannot buy a piece of hardware for such particular sale, right? So you cannot fully dependent on what capacity you need. You don't know what time the sale will begin or end. So it's all dependent on that particular situation. So it offers you that edge on the scalability as well. So next, so you don't have to worry about maintenance because the cloud provider takes care of all the maintenance that are required for the particular data center, what your application has been hosted or not. So you don't have to worry much about the maintenance of what your infrastructure is. So next, one major advantage of using cloud is backup and recovery. So speaking of backup, suddenly, for example, if your application is running, it should be available for your customers 24/7. So if due to some error, your application fails down, so suddenly it provides you a similar resource of the same type, and your application will be start running seamlessly. So and the error will be recovered back, and it will be automatically fixed by the cloud provider for you itself. You need to do some configuration to do according to your need. So backup and recovery is one of the most one of the key benefits of cloud computing. So next, we'll move to security. So security in the sense if you're dealing with cloud, you're uploading data to it and you're downloading data from it. So the data needs to be secure. So the security, the cloud provider gives you a variety of security levels to secure data, to secure the data communication to and fro from the computer to the cloud. So it can either be a client-side encryption or a server-side encryption. It depends upon the user who is setting up the process. So next, we'll speak about storage capacity. So you don't need to have an estimate of storage what you need. So you can increase or decrease the storage as you go in according to your application. So it gives you an edge over on redundant hardware storages. So next is instant software updates. So for example, if you need a specific feature for a particular for an instance, then you can instantly roll out a software update and change all the application that has been using the earlier version. So you can do that in cloud computing. So it is also another major advantage of using cloud. So next, we'll speak about compatibility. So speaking of compatibility, one such great example what I can give you is using an instance VM. So a virtual machine, the cloud, it gives you a variety of operating system, for example, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and with a variety of flavors in each. For example, in Linux, there are many particular flavors. So you can choose what OS you need or what OS your application needs to be run on. And you can migrate or you can host your application on the particular operating system as well. So it gives you more compatibility with working with operating systems. So speaking of the last point, so you can go global in minutes, within some few clicks, you can host your application globally. So it will be available across all the world. So these are some of the main benefits of using cloud computing. Yes. So next, moving on, we'll see the types of cloud. So there are 4 types of cloud, but mainly they'll use public and private cloud. So public cloud in the name itself suggests it's a public cloud. For example, a cloud provider will be there, an individual user like you or me. We'll approach the cloud provider, stating for a specific service for use, and they will allocate you the resource. Then you will use the resource according to your need. So it's an example of public cloud. So private cloud in the sense like the use will be limited to an organization. For example, you can consider an organization called like IBM or Oracle. Like the particular resource usage of that particular cloud will be restricted to their employees. So a person from outside the Oracle organization cannot access to their cloud. So this is how the private cloud functions. So next we are speaking about hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud in the sense it's a mix of both public and private cloud. So for example, you can say an organization is making use of an cloud facility from a cloud provider, and it is limiting that particular cloud usage to its employees. So based on role. So this is like one example of how hybrid cloud works. So it's basically just a combination of both public and private cloud. We can say like that. So moving on to the last, it is community cloud. So community cloud in the sense like it will be managed by some group of people or organization. One example you can take is like, for example, if we take government of India, for example, so there will be some different departments utilizing the cloud resources. So each will manage one. So likewise, it will be managed by some community of persons or organization. So it is and one good example of what community cloud and its use is. So these are the types of cloud present. So moving on to next. So next we are going to see about the computing services, like as a service models, like normally they used to say. So there are three as a service models here. So the first one is infrastructure as a service model. So what this service does is like it gives you the basic infrastructure. For example, they say a bare metal. So what you need to run your application on. So you need to take care of. So we'll see like what this particular infrastructure as a service covers and remaining other two service covers in the next upcoming slides. So basically, it gives you the underlying infrastructure, and you need to take care of the application. So here you can see, right, infrastructure as a service in the second column. So you can see here, like what are the layers or what are the layers that are managed by the cloud vendor. So you can see here the networking, storage, server, and virtualization. Virtualization in the sense like the allocation of resources to application. So this will be managed by your cloud provider. So what you need to manage is like what operating system you need to run on which hardware runtime, and what the database. So these are all should be managed by you. So they give you the underlying infrastructure, and you need to take care of the stuff related to your operating system, middleware, and data. So this is infrastructure as a service model. So next, it is platform as a service model. So here, you need to, the underlying infrastructure will be covered. What you need to do is like what type of application you are going to host on cloud. So you need to, like it falls on your hands, like what type of application I'm going to host on this service. So one great example of platform as a service we can give is like, for example, Heroku. So in Heroku, normally what we used to do is we used to deploy a code on the platform, and it will be enabled like publicly for the users to like access them with the particular URLs, right? So it is one of the example of platform as a service model. So here you see, right? So you only take care of what application and data in the platform as a service model. So it should be managed by you, and the remaining stuffs, the runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, the server, storage, and the networking part will be covered by the cloud providers. So you don't need to worry about like on what operating system my application is running on how it is communicating with the network. You don't need to worry about that. So just you need to just worry about what type of like what my application is going or how my application should be, right? So this is the known as the platform as a service model. So finally, it's called as software as a service model, SaaS. So SaaS basically, in the sense, it's an end user application. So we can call like that. So the end user application will be a software, right? So, for example, we can give a Gmail, Google Docs, spreadsheets. So these are some of the SaaS applications that are available in the current market now. So here you no need to worry about anything. So the application will be readily delivered to the user. Only what you need to do is like how we are going to use the particular application. For example, if you are taking Gmail, then you should worry about how to send and receive an email there. You no need to worry about how Gmail is written or how it is hosted or in which operating system the Gmail is present. So you don't need to worry about that. So only what you need to do is just you're going to use a particular software, right? So it is called as software as a service model. So in this particular picture, you can see, right? So the first one is the on-premises. In the sense, it is the traditional infrastructure what has been followed before migrating to cloud. So the next comes IaaS. So infrastructure as a service gives you it gives you more functionality, or you can what we can say, it gives you you can manage most by if you're using infrastructure as a service. Like when you're going to the other services, so if you moving on to the next, so the services or the particular configuration managed by you will be decreased on moving further. So the next is platform as a service. You can see, right, worry about application, what application you're going to go on the data, and next one is software as a service. It's an end user software application. So these are the cloud service models present. So next, we'll move to elasticity in cloud computing. So elasticity in the sense, for example, we can make use of this particular graph to understand how it actually plays in the picture. For example, earlier I said, one great example of cloud computing is a rental car. So for example, take this particular disk as a person you need to accommodate in a car. For example, I need to take 3 persons to a particular place. So you can rent a car which could take 4 person. So similarly, on the next, you see, I need to take up 5% to the particular destination. Then you can rent up a car 6-seater or something like that. So when it goes again, so I need to rent or I need to take 7 people to a particular destination. Then 6-seater won't work. Then you need to take some 8-seater or 12-seater. So according to the demand increase, so you need to just rent the vehicle based on your need. So according to time goes, the demand can be increasing or decreasing. And so accordingly, you can increase or decrease the resource you want. So for example, in this particular case, you cannot buy a 12-seater and you can accommodate 3 people. So there will be some particular loss in considering, we can say, fuel or for example, the fuel, the consumption taken by a 4-seater will be more lesser than the fuel consumption taken by a 12-seater. So for example, there are some certain conditions will come into place if using a 4-seater and a 12-seater car. So the demand, it will change from time to time. So you should adopt to that particular demand. So elasticity in the sense, it gives you the flexibility to increase or decrease the resources that you have. So you can increase or you can rent a particular 4-seater or 12-seater according to the people present. So this is one of the major use of using cloud computing. So next, we'll speak about high availability. For example, you have hosted your application in online, and as I said earlier, all the people across the world will be using your application, and your application needs to be 24/7 active. So if something happened to your application and if it's failing, so you should have an immediate backup to restore your application and start your application running seamlessly to all your users. So this is where high availability comes into picture. For example, if you are using the service offered by a cloud provider, for example, you say AWS, so there will be there is a concept called availability zones. For example, you choose a region and you host your application there. On that particular region, so there will be a number of availability zones present there. So your application will be replicated across the availability zones. So for example, if one availability zone fails, then automatically another availability zone will be up and your application will be running without failing. So this is the use of just moving to cloud and hosting your applications there. So it will be highly available than the hardware one. Okay. So this is again another advantage of using cloud. So next, moving forward. So, for example, like we can take the same example. For example, you need to accommodate 15 people. You need to like take them to some particular place, and you need to rent a car. So, what will you do in this current situation? You will just get a single 16-seater car, or you will just get five 4-seater car, and you can accommodate them. Okay. So this is just a question to you, and if you like it, this has nothing to involve with cloud computing. So if you have any idea like which one which one you should have preferred, so you can just say in chat like I'll see to it, and we can see like whether you're like saying it correctly or not. Okay, so it's just a question like for example, if you need to take 15 people to some place, what will you do? Like will you take a 16-seater and take all the people in a single go, or you'll rent 5 4-seater cars and you will take the people to the particular place? So which option will you take? Option 1 or 2? A single-seater car or a 5 4-seater one? Yeah, Surya says 1. Okay, it's good. So all of you are saying 1. Okay. So it's good, but so for example, now we can consider, right? So for example, you are taking a 16-seater car and you are going. So at particular point of time, like your car has some particular, it malfunctioned or some particular part has been broken or tore off, then all the 16 people will be stranded on that particular place and no one will be able to make it to the destination. So in another example, in option 2, what we have said earlier is, right, we are renting a 5 4-seater cars, and each people will be traveling alone. So if a particular car failed, another people in the 4 cars would have been reached the destination, and the failed car, so it will also reach the destination, but in a time late than the earlier people have visited. So in case of a single 16-seater, so you should wait till the car has been fixed. All the 16 people should wait until the car has been fixed, and then only they can visit the particular destination. So when you are using 5 4-seaters, if a particular car fails, the remaining 4 cars will reach the destination, and the failed car will eventually at some time it will also reach the destination. So here the remaining people in the 4 cars, they are not waiting for the standard car, right? So they are reaching the destination correctly on the time. So this particular concept is called as horizontal and vertical scaling. So it is good. Like you have responded option 1. Yeah, it is like logically correct, but picking of the option like horizontal and vertical scaling, it usually depends on the situation that you are in. So whether you need 5 4-seater car or a single 16-seater car. Okay. And for example, if you can say, right, if there is a 16-seater car, then like you can accommodate more people, but like this is the difference that two scaling makes. So if you have any doubts here, you can ask, right, or I'll just move forward, right? You have understood what I have said, right? So this one is called as vertical scaling, just using a single 16-seater. So using 5 4-seaters is horizontal scaling. We are scaling it horizontally. So even if one particular VM fails, so we'll spin up another VM and just we'll make it work. So here we need to wait for this particular VM to just come back to normal health and function. It's okay. So this is the difference between using this to scaling. Okay, I think no one has doubts here, so I'll just like whether you have any doubts like with the concept that have been covered earlier, like not with the scaling part, like before as well. You can ask now before I'm moving to like the AWS part, like. Yeah, what I'm saying is, for example, if you're using some particular product, then what you need to do is first you need to like uh, worry about how effective your product is, because for example there are similar products that might be available in the market. So for example your product should be effective, right? So for example, if your product isn't like, if you take a 16 seater, then the name of your company will fail, right? So for example, I took a rent of this particular car from this company and it have standard, but if you have taken the particular 5 seaters from the same company, then the thing will be different there. So what we need to do here is like, we need to it's not about the cost, but we need to see the how efficiency our application has been there. But cost is also a major part. But if you're using 4 times the same as big one, I think there will not be much difference. It will be like based on what operating system or storage you are using in terms of VM here. But the effect, but if you're using that particular single VM, your efficiency of the particular application has not been met, right? So if you're using an application there, so it should be ready. It should be like standing out, like the margin of error should be very less, right? So again, I said, right, this particular scaling, it will be like differ from situation to situation, and based on your situation, you can use either horizontal scaling or vertical scaling. The uses, like if you need to increase your resources, you can go with horizontal scaling. If you need to replicate the same existing resource, you can go with vertical scaling. Like this is the two, like this is an exact term to state what is horizontal scaling for and what is vertical scaling for. So I think there's no other questions here. So next I'll move with the like what some crisps about what AWS and how it offers its services, right? So normally, like we know that AWS is one of the topmost cloud provider. So cloud provider in the sense, like we'll use their services via internet. So next we'll see like the global infrastructure of AWS. So here global infrastructure in the sense, like normally like the services what we're using, so they will be present at some particular system like anywhere in the world. So it can either be in India or America or Australia. Like it can be anywhere based on where you're hosting your application on the region. So AWS, like it's being one of the topmost cloud provider. So it has its regions across all the world. So this particular world map shows like where like all the regions that are available under AWS. So you can see here, right? So it is available across like most of the parts in the world, and they are connected. So I'll just show you. You can see here, right? The blue ones are the regions that are currently present. I'll zoom in a little bit. Blue ones are the regions like they are currently available, and the orange ones, they are coming soon. So in each region, there will be availability zones. So availability zones in the sense, so there are some, they are data centers, not specifically one. So there can be 2 or more data centers as well. So each region will have some number of availability zones there. So if you are hosting a particular application in a particular region, then all your data will be available under availability zones, and each availability zones present in that particular region will have a replica of what your data is there. So you can see like in India, we have Mumbai as a region, and we are going to launch another region in India on Hyderabad. It's coming soon. So here you can see, right, AWS has 26 regions currently active, and a total of 84 availability zones in all of the regions in 245 countries. So this is some of the stats like AWS gives, like based on the infrastructure they offers us. Like, so moving on to next. So I have spoken about like region and availability zone stuffs, right? So region in the sense, it comprises of several availability zones. So availability zones in deep, they are made up of data centers. So in this image, you can see, right? So under a particular region, there are 3 availability zones. Inside an availability zone, it has two data center, three and two data centers, and they are connected with each other. So one of the main advantage of using these region and availability zones is like for the low latency. For example, if you are from India and mostly your application has been used by Indians, then you can host your application in Mumbai, like in Mumbai region itself. So the latency will be very low. So if normally your application is being used across all the world, then you can host your application on several regions based on the traffic that you are receiving for your application in order to avoid the latency error here. So you can see, right? So this is about the region and availability zones you're speaking about. So moving on, like you can say that like as we said earlier, like the cloud provider will take care of the security of what we are of the data, the application, everything else, right? So you have said earlier, right? So if you're using cloud computing, then our application must be secure, right? So you can say like that. So next we'll see like if you're using cloud, so the total security will not fall on the cloud provider itself. So there will be some amount of responsibility that the user should also take in. So we'll see it in the next slide, like what type of responsibility the user should take other than the cloud provider. So it is called as shared responsibility model. So you can see, right, the blue ones are the responsibility that the customer should take, and the orange are the responsibility that the cloud provider, AWS, will take care of. So you can see, right, so the cloud provider will take care of security of the cloud. So he will be he can give you a 100% guarantee for the security of the cloud. So you should be worrying about the security in the cloud. Like the users should worry about security in the cloud because they are the ones they're using the applications in the cloud. So for example, you can see here, right, in the customer, what they need to be responsible for. For example, the data what they sent in and received from the cloud, the application, or identity and access management is, for example, if you're an organization, then whom you are giving access to, like for example, your employees, and what kind of access you are giving to your employees. For example, the main motive of cloud is to give least responsibility. For example, if a particular user needs only access to storage, so then you give access for storage to him. Like that particular user, he doesn't need any information about networking or computation part. So he needs to be only given access to storage. So this is one of the like main motive of using cloud. So in that particular way, like whom you are giving access, so it all falls on the person who is using the cloud. For example, if you're working in a company, then it falls on your company's perspective and what applications you have been hosting on the cloud provider, and the operating system, the network, like network in the sense the communication between the like in internet, for example, the ports what you are using to communicate with your application in the for your applications. So it again relies on you, like you are the person who's developing your application and making use of the cloud service. So you should be responsible for all these stuffs. So next, the encryption side. So like you can take care of the encryption on the client side part, but the cloud provider will be giving you some like hello. So speaking of encryption, so the client also will have an provision to encrypt the data what they are sending in the cloud, and there will be an feature for the server-side encryption as well. So it again depends on the customer, like to enable encryption or to disable it. So it depends on the application what we are using. For example, if an individual user just testing out some application, then you don't need to worry about the encryption stuffs, the security related things. But if you are an organization and you are hosting a particular application that has been used across the world, then you need to take care of all these particular things, right? So security and encryption, they play a major role here. So as I said earlier, the networking, the traffic, so it all falls under the customer or the user who is using the cloud service. So what services that are responsible for the cloud provider, right? So the cloud provider takes care of the computation part, what your application needs, or the storage, what your application needs. So database, networking. So these are some of the parts that the cloud provider assists you with the security. This particular parts will be secured by the cloud provider as well. For example, the hardware thing, you don't need to worry about where your particular hardware is hosted, right? So, but the particular data center, so all the particular availability zones, they will have separate connections, internet fibers, so everything. So they will be separated from each. So if one fails, then another will be available there. So it applies for all regions, availability zones as well. So these are some of the things that cloud provider is responsible for. Okay, right? So it is called a shared responsibility model, security in and off the cloud. So moving on to next. So these are some of the services what AWS offers, from analytics, application integration, AR, VR, cost management, so blockchain. So there are variety of services AWS offers for us. So what the user need to do is like he need to identify the proper and particular service what he needs, and he can use the service like on the go. So these are some of the services that are offered by AWS. So there will be like category in each services as well. For example, if we are using database, so there will be a separate service for NoSQL database, SQL database, so etc. like that. So these are the main topics under which there are some other services available as well. So I'll show you on the AWS console like what are the services available here. So this is the AWS console here. So here you can click on the services. So if you need to use AWS, so there is a thing called AWS free tier. So you can create a free account. So this account will cover a lot of services and it will be available for 12 months period. So see, you can see here, right? You can launch an EC2 instance that of 72 hours, 5 GB of S3 storage. So these are some of the benefits of using a free tier account. So in order to get started with free tier account, you need to have either a credit or debit card. But if you are not having that particular thing, then there is another service provided by Amazon called AWS Educate. So here, there is no need of any debit or credit card needed. So you can just register here and there will be some series of labs available for the particular service. So for example, I think the individual lab will cover 2 hours of using the cloud console, I think so. So you can just launch a lab there and you can try what you need to work there and you can work on. So by using this, so it will not ask for any of your credit card or debit card details here. So you can use this to learn or for a demo purpose, like if you are getting started with cloud, so then you can use AWS Educate as well. So if you're having the cards, like as I said, either debit or credit, so you can apply for a free tier account and you can use it. So it's for 12 months. Like when you created your account and like give all your details and just sign in, then the free tier account will be activated automatically and you can monitor like how many resources that I have used in this particular free tier here. So myself, I'm using a free tier account. So if you need, you can opt in using by giving the relevant details, then you can get the free tier account here. So it covers a variety of services AWS offers. For example, as we have said earlier, right? Analytics, mobile. So there are a lot more. So if you need, and if you are like looking into explore more thing in AWS, then you can opt in for AWS free tier account as well as AWS Educate. So today, like I'm just looking forward to show you a demo of how to create a virtual machine here using EC2 instance. So EC2 in the sense it's a Elastic Compute Cloud. So here you can create VM. So it not only Linux, so you can create Windows, Mac OS stuffs. So we'll get started with. So before getting started with it, I'll just show you what are the services that are available here in AWS. So you can click on all services. So you can see here, right? This is some of the categories in which the services are available. For example, if I click on compute, so these particular services are available under the compute section. So you can make use of the service according to your need. For example, EC2 image builder. Image builder in the sense, like, for example, if you're using a particular OS and you have installed some particular software according to your need, then you need to distribute that particular piece of OS to your customers. Then you can use this image builder and create an image of your OS. Then you can send that particular image to your customers or the end users to make use of it. So there are a variety of services available here, and you can use it based on your need. For example, storage. So S3. So S3 in the sense it's object storage. So you can store any files in S3 and retrieve it. And S3 Glacier. Glacier in the sense in order to archive your files from S3, you can use S3 Glacier. So the services available in AWS, so they will be costing like based on individual services. So by using the cloud, you need to only pay for what you're using here. So it depends on service to service. Either, for example, if you're using a particular service which uses request as its primary thing, for example, Lambda function, so you will be charged based on the request your function receives. If S3, it will be based on the storage occupied by your particular bucket here. So these are something related to the pricing point of view. So you can explore more, like if you are in real time working on an application and you are integrating cloud with it. So there are some, so you can plan accordingly, like what type of service that I need to use to my application, meeting the cost requirement. So now I'm just going to show you a demo on EC2, like how to create a virtual instance of a Linux system. So this is the EC2 dashboard. So here you can see I'm planning to launch an instance here. So you just need to click on launch instance. So next, it will give you a variety of operating system flavors, range like from Linux to Mac OS. So you can choose what operating system you need or your application need. You need to just select here and what bit operating system your application needs to be, either it's 64-bit ARM processor or 60 Intel, or like it depends on your application, right? And again, which one, Red Hat Linux or Ubuntu, Windows, Mac OS. Like there are variety of operating systems available, so you can choose like based on your application need. So now I'm going to just go with the free tier eligible versions in order to avoid the bill generated, because if you're using this particular Mac OS here, so you will be charged for the usage. Like for example, for the particular amount of time your application has been running, then you will be charged for that. So in order to avoid that, I'm just going with the free tier eligible stuffs. So I'm going with Amazon Linux. So now we have chosen what operating system that I need. Now what you need to choose is like what computing capacity that my instance needs to be. Like for example, the CPU and memory, what my operating system needs. So you can see here, right? T2.micro, it's a free tier eligible one. And all other remaining instances, like they will be charged. You can see here, wait, I'll just show you. So they will be charged based on what type of type you are selecting here. So now I'm just going to go with free tier eligible. So what differences here? If you come down, you can see here, right? So you will be provided with 8 GB RAM, virtual CPU, and memory of 16 GB. Here, the largest one is, you can see here, right? 192 of virtual CPU and 384 GB of RAM. So these are some of the different types of processing power you can just incorporate with your operating system. So again, it depends on your application need. If it's a larger application, then you need to give necessary computing power to it. So it again depends on the user to choose what type of computing power his operating system needs. So now I'm just going to go with free tier eligible one. So next, you need to create instances, like how many instances of this particular operating system I need. So for the demo purpose, I'm just going to need a single instance. So these are some of an advanced part, the networking stuffs. For example, you can create a virtual private network and you can just have a many number of instances running on that particular network. So I'm just going to avoid it for now. So IAM in the sense identity and access management, right? As I said earlier, right? So you need to give roles to the particular person, what he needs. So for example, what type of access this particular person have, they all come under IAM. So I'm just going to skip all this for now. And I'm just going to add a storage to my particular instance. So here you can see, right? So the volume is for root, snapshot. I need what size I need. So you can select here. I'm going to go with 8 GB of memory. And what memory do I need? SSD or so there are different types of SSDs, right? So this differs like the number of read and writes that has been taking place on the hardware. So based on your application, you can choose what type of storage your application need here. So I'm just going to go with the present one. So here you can see here, right? Number of input or output operation that your corresponding hardware supports, and delete and termination in the sense like if I have terminated the particular instance, whether I need to retain my storage or not. For example, my particular instance has been using some storage and recording information there. So whether on terminating the instance, I need that particular storage or not. So if you don't need that, you can give here, or if you need to retain that particular information on your storage, then you can uncheck this checkbox. And you can use, if you need encryption, then you can use it here. So KMS in the sense it's key management service. You can create your public and private key and you can encrypt it. So I'm not going to do that here, and I'm going to check this as well because I need not to worry about what my instance is storing on the storage as well. So here you can see I have added a root storage of 8 GB, general purpose SSD. So next I'm going to add tags. So tag in the sense like in order to this is like a key value pair which you can give an additional information like the metadata to your particular instance. For example, so I can give a session and I can give here for FOSS. So these are some of the additional metadata like what you can just individually identify your particular instance. So you can just give here, and next you can configure the security group. So I have no any existing security group here. I'm just going to give a new security group here, and what type of security that the communication between the internet and my particular instance should be specified here. For example, now I'm just allowing an SSH of the TCP protocol on the port range of 22. So you can give source custom anywhere or my IP. So my IP in the sense it will be my IP address. Custom anywhere in the sense like it depends on the user who is just setting up this particular port ranges and stuffs. So I'm just going to go with custom because I'm not going to make use of anything from this particular instance. And if you need any description, you can just give it here. So I'm just going to go with the default ones. So you can, at the last step, you can review like what you have given earlier. I have chosen the Amazon Machine Linux here, and the instance type is K2.micro, and it has one virtual CPU and 1 GB of memory. And the security group, like I have enabled SSH for port 22 in my IP address. And the instance details that I have given earlier, one instance of this particular stuff, storage is general purpose SSD2, and tags I have given session rates for FOSS. So these are some of the general overview of what you have done earlier. So if you are okay with it, then you can click on launch, and it will ask you for a key pair. So for example, if you need to access this application from your terminal or command prompt, then you need to create a key pair and you need to access this. So now I'm not going to do anything like that. So I'm just going to give here proceed without a key pair. And I'm just going to launch an instance here. So if you're planning to do SSH to this particular instance from your terminal or command prompt, you can generate a particular key pair here. So it will give you a PEM file. So what you need to do with the PEM file is you need to give root access like chmod 400 for that PEM file. Then you need to SSH that particular like an instance ID will be created here, then you can create an SSH connection making use of that particular thing. So I'm not going to do that now. So I'm just going to proceed without a key pack here. So now I'm just going to launch this particular instance. So you can see here, right? So my instance is getting launched now. So you can go to view instance. So it's showing me here like what type of instance is this. So it is under the availability zone US East 1C, which is nothing but North Virginia. So it will be by default. If you need any other region you need specifically, then you can select it here and you can just create an EC2 instance of that particular instance. So for example, if I select Mumbai, where is Mumbai? So you'll see here, right? So I haven't created any instance here, so there is no instance available here. So if you need any instance to be created here, then you can create by clicking on launch an instance here, and you can do the same from here as well. So here it gives you, right, same AP South 1A is the availability zone 1, 2, 3. Mumbai has 3 availability zones. So it has been shown here under zones. So now I'm just going back to North Virginia. So now you can see here what the status of my instance is. It is in running. So if I click on here, so it gives you all the details of your instance. So if you need to communicate with your instance, so it has the public IP address, private IP address. So you can communicate with it, and here you can see what are the details of your particular instance. Like we have config, like you have used Amazon Linux, something like that. So it gives you all the details related to your instance and what securities here, the groups that we have just created for this particular instance here. So if you're using it on a particular organization, so they will have been setting up some security measures there. So you'll be under that group there, networking, storage, what type of storage I'm using here, and so all that particular details you can find it here. And monitoring, what is my CPU utilization, discrete, write. So everything you can do it by selecting the particular instance here. So now what I'll do is I'll just connect with that particular instance. So connect in the sense like it will give you access to the particular terminal, like of the particular operating system that we have created, right? Amazon Linux image. So you'll be able to interact with the particular terminal here, there. So if I click on connect, so you can see here, right, a particular window has been opened, and it has been initializing the, sorry, just there has been some error here. So I think there is some error here, but once you click on that, and you'll see, you can see a terminal running here. So if you need, I can show you by just creating another instance. I don't know why it's failing here. Select. Yeah, now you can see here, right? So we have created an Amazon Linux machine image. So now you see here, right? So for example, you can just list all of the Linux commands here. It will be working. So this is just how you need to create an EC2 instance of a particular operating system and how to work on it. So now I have connected with this particular instance through the console, but you can do the same via using SSH from your terminal or command prompt. So I have said earlier, right, you can need to create a key pair and you have to configure it and connect. So like this is one of the service offered by Amazon EC2, and there are many more other popular services used here. For example, S3, DynamoDB. So there are a lot more services. Like if the time permits, then we can cover in some later sessions. So this is that for now. So we are just the end of the session. So thank you. So if I'm open to questions, like if there is any questions, you can ask me now, or we can end the session. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. AWS offers several certifications. So there are some certain levels. For example, there is a beginner level certification available, which is called as AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. It is for beginners who are getting started with cloud. So next, it will be move on to associate level. So again, there are two certifications available there. So next, it will be professional level. Wait, I'll just show you what are the certificates available here. Right. You can see here, like there is a foundational certificate, which is a basic cloud practitioner. So next is associate. So there are three certifications available under this particular category: solutions architect, developer, sysops administrator. So what difference between these particular certificates is like there will be like certain services will be associated with some particular services, particular certification. So you need to choose particular certificate based on what you are interested in. So then you can complete the associate level certificate. So then you can go to professional level. Here you can see solution architect and DevOps engineer. So these are the professional level certifications. Like 2 years of experience you need in cloud industry to, like, if you are ready enough, you can apply for this certification and you can get it. So foundation is like it is not that necessary, but you can start from taking associate, then professional. Then now they have introduced in another session or another topic called specialty certification in AWS. So it is so they have 6 certification under this particular category: advanced networking, data analytics, database security, and SAP machine learning. So they have introduced this particular 6 certifications new this year. So earlier only it was available till professional. So these are some of the certifications like what you can prepare and appear in AWS. So these certifications will help. Just it will let others know that you have some particular knowledge in this particular domain, without you being saying that I have knowledge in this particular stuff. So it will get you some more opportunities. So you cannot say that if I got certificate in all of this, I will get a job. So I cannot say that, but it will definitely help you to get some doors open to in order to, like, it will show others that you have knowledge in this particular field or what track you have chosen on. So this is basically about the certifications that AWS offers. So like I think if you apply for one particular certification and if you pass, then AWS will offer a discount on all other certification that if you clear. For example, if I applied for solutions architect and I have cleared it, then I will get a discount to apply for another certification, and it will go on till you are, like, again if I applied for developer and if I got passed, then again I will get a discount for another certification. So it will go on like that. So it is totally dependent on you, like because it will be differing from job titles. For example, some particular job title will need some particular certifications to be met. So it will be again dependent on the person who is choosing what he needs to study. So, but if you're doing certification, then it will be just good. Yeah, that's about AWS certification and stuffs. So from my experience, so I have started with cloud like less than, I can say, in a 3 months period. I have earlier interest, but I couldn't like just get along with it due to some due to some work and shifting of online and offline stuffs. But I have started like get in touch with this particular topic for the last 3 months, and it has been really good because you can get, because cloud, it is really hot in this particular market trend, and there is definitely a lot of roles that are coming now, and it will in future also there will be a good market for cloud developers as well. So there are, so from my point of view, the cloud developers who are in some good position currently are earning good. So cloud has definitely a good future. But if you are interested in cloud, then you can start learning the benefits, the basics of what cloud computing is. Then you can just choose any one cloud provider, not specifically AWS. So if you're interested in learning Azure, then you can choose that as well. So based on your preference, you can choose any cloud provider. Then you learn in deep of what that particular cloud provider offers. So then you can apply for some certification. Even Microsoft has certification for there as well. So you can appear for certification and clear it. Then you can show them that you have knowledge in this particular field. And if you are getting strong in one particular cloud, then you can just say, or you can just try exploring what other cloud providers offer. And like, for example, if you compare Amazon with Azure, so mostly all the services will be available in both the cloud providers as well. The name will be different and some process will be different, but basic will be same. So if you got to know the basic very well in any one cloud service provider, then you can just within that much amount of worry, you can just migrate to another cloud provider. Because if you are working in cloud, at any time your company may require you to just focus on other cloud based on the demand or the functionality that another cloud provider offers from one another. So we cannot say that only AWS will lead the market in the future, but we need to just stick on with the basics and just try to do what you learn. For example, I will say like that. For example, if you learn to do whatever you're learning in as a part of AWS with a practical demo, then like you will not forget. For example, I have from what I have asked from the persons who have cleared some cloud certification, they said like most of the questions will be of like it will be of multiple choice questions, and it will be of a scenario based question. For example, you'll be given a scenario of a company with some particular requirement like this or that, and what decision will you take. For example, the questions will be of this particular type. So if you're doing some good hands-on with the service that what you're learning, so you will get like particularly at what point of time this particular service will be using, and how effective will this particular service be. So it all comes with practice, and so that's what I can say about how I'm still learning. And yeah, if you are interested, you can get started as well. Yeah, sure. For example, I'm doing my intern in related to core Java, so I have no relation with cloud here, but I'm learning cloud because as a part of my personal thing. So like if you're going placement from on campus in college, then I don't know, like for example, you will be given a position to choose your role. So I don't know, so that part. But for example, in this particular placement year, so the placement has been really good. Nearly all the students like in my particular department has been placed, and most of the companies has been recruiting in larger quantity as well. So the demand for software developers is like has been larger than the last year. So you don't need to worry about like the demand. So there will always be a demand for software developers. So related to placements, what I'll say is just do practice coding or solving problems regularly. So keep in touch, and I don't know, like most of the companies they have started asking system design as a part of the interview rounds as well. So last year as well, I have heard that 2 companies conducted a separate interview rounds for system design. So I don't know like whether they will do this year the same or not, but I'm not asking you to go in deep about it. If you have some time, then you can learn some basic stuffs. For example, you can watch a simple video how they are designing WhatsApp or Instagram, something like that. So if you watch that particular 45 minutes to 1 hour video, then you will get some idea like for example, how they are routing the request from client to the server, something like that. So there will be some different types of application with different types of users that brings in according to the application need. So one thing that I have heard of is like just you can not too deep, but have a good level of understanding of what system design is, and have some just know some basics of how to simply design a system. Then I will say is just be good with competitive programming and practice a lot of problems. So try to do it with from brute force to optimized one. So start with brute force and move along. And when you are sitting in an interview, like face-to-face interview, then start speaking with the person from the start itself. So if he gives you a question and if you know that particular question, and don't start solving as along without just talking with him. Just after reading the question, you just confirm with him this that particular stuffs, right? So input stuff and output this, and you tell him that I'm planning to solve this problem by this particular approach. Then you start solving, and when you do like this, the particular person will be in touch with what you are doing, and like he will know, like obviously what you're doing as well. So if you didn't talk with that particular, like you didn't speak with that particular person related to what your approach is, then after solving the problem, then again you need to explain what you have done in that particular solution to that particular person again. So there will be like a lack of communication between the two. So just have a small chats along with the person while solving the problem. So it will be really good to make this thing available there, and read the problem statement carefully and confirm with the interviewer like once or twice what this problem statement is, and so that's why I said like share and ask the opinion of what approach you are going to take with the interviewer, because that might save you some time. For example, if you didn't ask or tell him, then if you followed some particular approach, then that is only passing for that particular sample test case. Then the time will be wasted, and again you will be under some particular pressure situation. So your mind will not work at that particular time, and a lot of stuff will happen there. So have a conversation with them, and next what speak, like that's what I will say, like don't be quiet. So for example, even if you don't know, like you can say like that I have known only to this particular limit, and I have not heard, or even you can say like that I don't know this particular topic or not. So they will not expect you to be expert in all the stuff. So but if you don't know that particular topic, and if you say something, and they will catch you surely, because they are in industry and they will have some certain years of experience. So be like just think, then speak to them, because at some point of time they will know that what you're saying is coming from you, or just you are googling it and saying or not. So keep in that mind as well. So I don't know, like you'll have online interviews or face to face, but and have some good practice on using a hacker rank. Or so most of the companies use hacker rank and hacker earth. So only certain few companies, for example, like some companies will have their own domain, or some will use an like another third party softwares to conduct the interview. So make sure of that, and practice, like stick with one problem solving language. Don't stick with some 2 or 3 languages. Like for example, if you're solving a problem, be strong in one particular language. Knowing 2 is okay, but I will say like just be proficient in one, so it will help you. And if it's a oops language, then it's more than good. So apart from that, if know all the simple, for example, I have used Python for problem solving, so I have like researched and known about lot of libraries and some default packages that are available in Python, so which you can make use of, and it will solve some certain amount of codes that you have to write manually. So explore that particular collections of frameworks that you can use in your particular problem solving skills. And apart from that, have a good understanding of what individual data structures is, from time complexity to users in real time. So they'll ask you that, and be just have a good knowledge of having your, like what you're putting on your resume. Either it can be as a interest, right? Area of interest. I probably will, most of you will put DSA and Some will put operating system, computer network, oops. So based on what you're putting on your resume, be strong there, because they are going to ask you only from what you're putting on your resume. So don't put the steps that you are not aware of. So, and be aware of what you're putting on your resume, from either it's a skill or a project. So you should be know what you, if it is a group project, then you should be confident with the steps what you have done on that particular project. So if you're strong with that, so they will not ask anything other from what your friends have done. So that's the part from on your resume. Just be truthful on what you're putting on your resume. And apart from that, yeah, if you have time, take a look at some of the basic aptitude questions. So I will not say just go very competitive in aptitude, because I haven't, like, from my friends, what I've heard is like, even whatever aptitude, like most of them will say RS Agarwal is a very good start to get started with aptitude. But even some of my friends have solved many problems in aptitude, but they fail to crack some of the company's aptitude, because you cannot say in aptitude they will ask only this particular trend. So it will change from company to company, and the difficulty will be increasing, and you will be given only a single minute to solve that particular question. So you cannot put much effort on that. So just be strong in coding, I will say, because some companies will look for coding alone only, but only some particular companies will look into aptitude. So it's just like, so if you have some time and if you're interested in solving some problems, then you can just take a look, or you can just learn either any some 6 to 7 concepts, for example, time, distance, something like that. So if you're only good at that, then be practice some problems related to that, and if that particular aptitude arrives, then you can just solve that. And like, for leaving that, it will give you some extra marks, because at the end of the day, they are going to select only the top performers, right? So you can just do a part of attending that 5 or 6 aptitude questions that you know, or that comes to you as well. So that is related to aptitude. And mostly that I will say, like, yeah, problem solving is important, and knowing what you put on resume is important, and speak politely with the interviewers, like, just give them some time to listen what they are saying, and say clearly what you are about to say. So I think that's more than enough, right? So this is from my experience what I have done here. Yeah. So my interview experience is like, so my company, they didn't ask for any aptitude. So it consists of 4 round all coding. So initial round, it has 4 coding questions. Then other 3 rounds, it has the second round and third round each has 3 coding questions, and the fourth one is a managerial round. So the interview process, it took 2 days, and I got the result of the next day. So on joining the company, I have joined the company as an intern on January, starting 4th. So from there, I have to say the experience is really good, and my manager is very nice person, down to earth, because I can ask even a small question. Either, for example, I haven't Java is not my skill. Until, like, in my college, I'm not used to code in Java much, so it was new to me. So I have learned there. So even if it's small, just what I can say, like, it's a simple question that we can ask, that I asked to him. Like, he will not just he will say, like, no problem, you can ask me whatever the question you have, either it's a complex one or a simple one. So he's very a good person. And the project, like what I have been working is, so my team will be working on like managing a particular software for my company. So it's a trading rated software. So it is built on Spring Boot Java. So So basically, there will be some similar bug fixes what our client will be facing. So they will assign some tickets to individual developers, and we need to solve that particular issues there. So this is how the whole system works here in this. Once you enter a particular company, okay. So the role you work in differ from company to company. So for example, some of my friends I didn't know before joining the company I will work with Java. So that's what I'm saying, that what you're going to work with will not be in your hands. So it will be in the company which you have selected and going in. So I will say at first even in the placement point of view, if you're not getting in at the first point, so just don't worry. So there will be a lot more companies coming in later as well, because in this year you can see a lot of dream companies started coming after Jan. Before and from I think they stopped in August, and in between 2 to 3 months there was no much not much the dream company came. But after Jan, I think 5 to 6 companies came suddenly, so no one expected that. So even your placement coordinators will not know which company will come at which time, so they will try their best to just bring the dream companies at once. But even if you didn't get it, don't worry, just take the learning and work on the next interview which you're attending, because at some point of time you will get to know what the pattern is. Then you will be what I'm saying is you'll be prepared. So even I was in your position last year. Now you see I got placed, and I'm just giving you a speech here. Maybe you will be in the similar position next year on the same time. So you have some good time. So April, I think they will start coming from June end or August, I think so. So you still have some time. So just practice your skills, practice problem solving regularly, and I think you will get. So most of the companies now, the work culture is really good, and however you will have some minimum of 2 or 3 seniors from our college in the companies. So you can just interact with them as well, because they will be the first person to address you from the company's behalf as well. So from my company, while interviewing itself, my manager said your seniors are doing well, so I'm expecting the same from you. So likewise, it will also be depending on the seniors' performance as well. So that's all. From my so along my friends also, all are doing great. So if you do good, then you will be also will be selected, and you'll be doing perfectly fine, I think. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I want to thank you all for being a part of FOSS, because I'm from being a CSC section. I joined FOSS later in the first year, and it really just it give me another dimension now, because I would frankly say that if I didn't join FOSS, I will not be into that much tech that I was before. So I hope that you are a part of this particular family. So very grateful for that. So I need to just thanks for CIT for giving me this opportunity. So likewise, I will expect you the same to give back to the particular club in the future as well for your juniors. So thank you for having me here, and thank you. Yeah, thank you.